The vanished village of Anjikuni, the greatest Arctic mystery in history. Imagine this. You're trudging through the frozen Canadian wilderness, your breath turning to ice in the bitter Arctic air. The sun barely peeks over the horizon, painting the snow-covered landscape in eerie shades of blue and gray. Suddenly, through the white emptiness, you spot a cluster of small huts, the remote Inuit village of Anjikuni. Smoke should be rising from the chimneys. Dogs should be barking. Children should be playing in the snow. But this time, everything is silent. Completely silent. It was November 1930 when a fur trapper named Joe Labelle, an experienced frontiersman familiar with every sound and shadow of the North, stumbled upon something he would never forget. Labelle had often visited Anjikuni to trade with the friendly Inuit villagers, but this time, as he approached the settlement, something felt disturbingly wrong. The snow was untouched, no fresh footprints, no sled tracks, no signs of life. When he called out, no one answered. He stepped into the first hut. The fire was out. Cold ashes sat in the hearth. Food was still on the table, half-cooked, frozen solid. A pot of stew, spoons still inside, as if someone had just stepped out for a moment, but never came back. Labelle went from hut to hut, calling the names of people he knew, the hunters, the women, the elders. Nothing. Each cabin was eerily identical. Belongings in place, rifles propped against walls, clothing neatly folded, but no people anywhere. Even stranger, no footprints led away from the village.
He finally reached the edge of the village where the Inuit kept their sled dogs. There he found 7 dead dogs, half buried in snow, their chains still fastened, as if they had starved to death waiting for their masters to return. The scene sent chills down Labelle's spine. Something terrible had happened here, but what? Labelle rushed to the nearest telegraph office miles away through freezing winds and sent an urgent message to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or RCMP. Within days, a patrol of Mounties arrived to investigate. What they found only deepened the mystery. When the Mounties reached Anjikuni, they confirmed Labelle's story. An entire village vanished without a trace. There were no signs of struggle, no signs of attack, no indication that the villagers had packed up and left. Their rifles, a vital tool for Arctic survival, had been left behind. Even their supply of food and furs, the lifeblood of any northern community, remained untouched. Then came another chilling discovery, the village burial ground. Several graves had been dug open and the bodies were missing. But not as if wild animals had disturbed them. The graves were cleanly excavated, the stones neatly placed aside. It looked deliberate.
At this point, the RCMP officers were baffled. The temperature was freezing, the snow deep. How could an entire community vanish without leaving tracks? Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said it was a mass abduction by supernatural forces, a curse from the Northern Lights, or even alien intervention. Others blamed starvation or disease. But then, why were all the provisions still there? The Mounties interviewed nearby trappers and travelers. One man claimed that a few nights before the disappearance, he had seen strange, pulsating blue lights hovering over the sky near the lake. Another swore he saw a cigar-shaped object descending silently over the village. To make things even more bizarre, reports came in from other parts of the Arctic about disoriented reindeer herds, strange radio interference, and odd lights dancing in the heavens. Not the normal aurora borealis, but something else entirely. In 1931, newspapers across North America picked up the story. Headlines read, "Entire village disappears in the Arctic. Inuit settlement vanishes without a trace. Mystery in Canada's north." Writers and journalists debated whether it was myth or fact. Skeptics said Labelle must have exaggerated or that the village never existed. But old trade records and testimonies from other trappers proved that Anjikuni was real and had been inhabited by several Inuit families for generations. Still, official reports from the RCMP seem to go missing, too. Some say the files were quietly removed from archives. Others believe they never existed. Yet every few years the legend would resurface in books, documentaries, and even UFO studies. Researchers later tried to explain it scientifically. Perhaps the villagers had migrated suddenly to escape famine, disease, or ice collapse. But again, how could an entire community vanish without leaving a single footprint in the snow? Inuit oral tradition also contains whispers of evil spirits that roam the northern lands, entities called Torngersuk or Nanook spirits, who lure people away during harsh winters. Some elders claim that the Anjikuni villagers might have angered these spirits, who then took them into the sky.
Whether myth or mystery, every version shared one haunting truth. Something happened in Anjikuni Lake that defies logic and history. Decades later, explorers who visited the same area described a heavy, eerie silence, as if the land itself remembered the disappearance. Modern satellite scans show little remains of the old settlement, just traces of foundations frozen into the tundra. Even now, no one knows where those people went. There were no bodies, no survivors, no evidence of migration. Just an empty village, left behind like a frozen photograph in time. Some UFO enthusiasts insist the Anjikuni disappearance is one of the earliest cases of mass alien abduction. Others say it was a government cover-up, possibly involving secret Arctic experiments during the early 20th century. Whatever the truth, one thing remains certain. The people of Anjikuni village walked into history and vanished. Every now and then, northern travelers still report strange blue lights hovering over the frozen lake. Some even claim to hear distant voices carried on the wind, laughter, songs, and whispers in a language no one understands. Perhaps, just perhaps, the villagers of Anjikuni are still out there, somewhere beyond the snow and stars.